Welcome back to Apex Sci-Fi. Today we continue the saga of the mercenaries of Sol. We venture into the heart of the furnace, to a place where matter ceases to be solid and even light struggles to escape the gravity of the heat. We look at the daring heist of Aurelius 9, and why the galaxy's most advanced civilizations are forced to hire humans when the temperature reaches the breaking point of physics. In the great galactic void there are stars and then there are monsters. Aurelius 9 was a monster. A blue giant of terrifying proportions. It radiated heat and radiation at levels that made standard life-bearing planets look like frozen pebbles. It was a churning, violent sea of plasma and magnetic storms. But in the center of its outer corona, trapped in a stable magnetic pocket, sat the Helios Research Station. The station was the property of the Solaris Collective, a highly advanced race of energy beings who lived in the upper atmospheres of gas giants. They were the masters of solar energy, yet even they had a limit. A sudden solar flare, a coronal mass ejection of unprecedented scale, had knocked the Helios station out of its stable orbit. It was now spiraling deeper into the sun, caught in the liquid fire of the inner corona. The station contained this singularity seed, a data core worth more than a dozen star systems. The Solaris Collective had sent 3 rescue fleets. All 3 were destroyed before they even reached the outer atmosphere. Their elegant energy shields, designed to vibrate at the frequency of light, simply reached their saturation point and shattered. The heat was too dense, too physical for their sophisticated technology. The Solaris Collective was desperate. They couldn't go in and their robots were melting in the hangars. So they sent a high-priority, unlimited credit signal to the Sol system. They called for the Sun-Thieves. Captain Elias Thorne stood on the bridge of the Icarus V, a ship that looked more like an industrial boiler than a starship. It was a blocky, ugly beast made of layered ceramic lead plates. But its most striking feature was the glacier skin. The ship was currently being encased in a massive 6-foot-thick layer of high-density, chemically stabilized ice. "How's the frosting looking, Mike?" Thorne asked, his voice muffled by the thick thermal insulation of his suit. "We're at maximum thickness, Cap. Big?" Mike Henderson replied over the comms, his voice distorted by the vibration of the ship's massive pumps. 600 tons of frozen carbon slurry. It's the most expensive ice cube in the galaxy, and we're about to throw it into a furnace. Sarah, status on the steam loops? Sarah, touch. Miller was buried in the engine room, her hands covered in thermal grease. The turbines are screaming, Cap. The moment we hit the plasma, the ice will start to flash boil. That steam will be channeled through the internal cooling veins. We're literally going to use the sun's own heat to power our air conditioning. It's crazy, it's dangerous, and I love it. The Solaris representative, a shimmering cloud of golden light contained in a glass orb, hovered near the view screen. "This is primitive. You are relying on a phase change of matter? Our energy shields operate at the subatomic level and they failed. How can frozen water protect you from a blue giant?" Thorne didn't even look at the orb. "Your shields try to fight the heat, pal. They try to block it. That's your problem. You can't block the sun. We're not fighting the heat. We're letting it do the work. The ice melts, the steam moves, the heat leaves the ship. It's called ablative cooling. It's old, it's messy, but it's the only way to swim in a volcano without getting burned." The Icarus V ignited its engines and dove. The transition from the black of space to the blue of the corona was like being hit by a freight train made of light. The view screen instantly went white, the sensors overwhelmed by the sheer intensity of the radiation. The only thing they could see was the external cameras, which showed the massive white layer of ice beginning to hiss and glow. "Internal temp is rising." Mike yelled over the roar of the steam turbines. 30 degrees Celsius, 40, 50. The glacier skin is flashy evaporating. "Deeper," Thorne commanded. "We need the velocity. We're not flying, we're sliding." The ship was now a streak of white steam in a sea of blue fire. To the Solaris Collective, watching from a distance, it looked like a suicide run. The ice was melting away in long, trailing plumes of gas, creating a protective envelope around the ship. This was the Leidenfrost effect on a galactic scale. The steam was creating a barrier that prevented the raw plasma from touching the hull directly. They reached the inner corona. The Helios station was visible now, a scorched, blackened needle tumbling through a vortex of golden fire. It was partially melted, its crystalline structures dripping like wax. "Docking will be impossible," Sarah called out. "The magnetic interference is too high. We can't use the tractor beams." "We don't need beams," Thorne said, gripping the manual controls. "Mike, get the harpoon ready. We're going to do this the old-fashioned way." The Icarus V surged forward, the remaining layer of ice now only inches thick. The hull plates were starting to moan under the thermal expansion. Thorn brought the ship alongside the tumbling station, the two vessels dancing in the liquid fire of the star. Fire. A massive, solid tungsten cable, tipped with a multi-pronged magnetic claw, shot out from the Icarus V. It sliced through the plasma and slammed into the Helios station's docking ring. Got him. Mike roared, reeling it in. Hold the ship steady, Cap. The drag is insane. The weight of the station, caught in the solar gravity, began to pull the Icarus V deeper. The internal temperature hit 60 degrees. The human mercenaries were sweating inside their suits, their heart rates climbing as they fought the physical pressure of the heat. The steam loop is at 100% capacity. Sarah yelled. The pipes are going to burst. We need to get out of here now. Wait, Thorn said, his eyes fixed on the solar sensor. There's a flare coming. A massive one. Right behind us. Cap, if that flare hits us, we're vapor. No, Thorn said, a manic grin spreading across his face. If that flare hits us, it's our ticket home. Mike locked the winch. Sarah, vent the primary steam valves toward the aft. We're going to surf this thing. A massive tongue of blue-white plasma, thousands of miles long, erupted from the sun's surface directly beneath them. It was a coronal mass ejection, the very thing that had trapped the station in the first place. As the wall of fire approached, Thorn flipped the ship. He pointed the remaining glacier skin toward the flare. Brace for impact. The flare hit them with the force of a supernova. The Icarus V was tossed like a leaf in a hurricane. The last of the ice vanished in a fraction of a second, but the explosion of steam created a massive, temporary cushion of pressure. The kinetic energy of the flare caught the ship and the station, slingshotting them away from the sun at incredible speeds. They were a ball of fire and steam, screaming through the corona, moving faster than any ship's engines could ever push them. The hull screamed, the alarms wailed, and for a moment, the humans were weightless as they were flung into the black. Minutes later, the Icarus V emerged from the outer atmosphere of Aurelius 9. The ship was blackened, its ice was gone, and it was trailing a long, scorched tether with the Helios research station attached to the end. The bridge was quiet, save for the sound of the cooling fans slowly bringing the temperature back down to 20 degrees. Thorn leaned back in his seat, his suit dripping with sweat. He reached out and tapped the glass orb of the Solaris representative. Check the cargo, pal, Thorn rasped. The seat is still in there. And tell your bosses that we're charging them for a new coat of paint. And some ice. The Solaris Collective was stunned. They had spent billions on energy shielding, on quantum dampeners, and on magnetic stabilizers. They had tried to outthink the sun. The humans had simply walked in with a block of ice and a rope. The Galactic Council's entry on the Sun-Thieves became a study in human brute force thermodynamics. It highlighted the human ability to use the environment's most hostile forces as a tool. Human mercenaries do not fear the extremes of the universe. While other species view a star as a god or a cataclysm, humans view it as a fuel source and a heat sink. They possess a terrifying willingness to push their biology and their machinery to the very edge of the melting point. Do not hire them because they are safe. Hire them because they are the only ones who know how to survive the heat by turning it into steam. Humanity had proven the ultimate mercenary HFY truth. The universe is hot, cold, and unforgiving. But as long as you have a way to move the heat from point A to point B, there is nowhere you cannot go. We are the children of the forge. We are the ones who tame the fire. And if there is something valuable in the heart of a sun, the humans will find a way to steal it. This has been Apex Sci-Fi. Stay cool out there. If you enjoyed this fiery heist of the Sun-Thieves, hit that like button. Comment below. If you had to dive into a sun, what is the one thing you'd want to take with you for luck? Subscribe for the next contract, the Hive Buster. The fire is behind us. The core is secure.